Hey, I'm Mike Baccarella, and today we're going to take a look at a Kenny Burrell line and use that to talk about how to use minor triads over different chord changes. Let's take a look. This line comes from Jimmy Smith's recording of Satin Doll from the album Organ Grinder Swing. It features Kenny Burrell throughout the whole record, and it's a great record worth checking out. So the real meat of this line is the minor triads that Kenny plays throughout his solo. So we're going to kind of skip the rest of the stuff and kind of hone in on those portions. So to start his solo, he's playing on a D minor 7 chord, and he plays just straight up a D Dorian scale. And then when he gets to the top, he plays this E minor triad. This E minor triad happens over the G7 chord. And then right after that, he goes up a whole step, plays an F sharp minor triad over the E minor 7. Now a little later in the solo, he plays on the bridge over the F major 7 chord. He plays an A minor. So let's take a look at all these different applications and how to apply them to what we're doing. So we're going to divide this up by chord type. We're going to look at minor 7s, major 7s, unaltered dominant 7s, and altered 7 chords. Let's take a look. So for minor 7 chords, I have 3 options that I think are cool. So the first one is playing a minor triad from the root. So if you're playing over D minor 7, you can play a D minor triad. It's an obvious solution, but it's something we don't want to neglect because we want to make sure we have command over the chord tones. Before we start throwing anything fancy over it, we want to make sure we can play the triad. So we play D minor over D minor 7, we get root, flat third, and fifth. Now we can go on to the second and play a minor triad from the second. So we can play an E minor over the D minor 7. And that gives us the 9th, 11, and 13. So it gives us all the upper extensions. It gives us all color tones. It's a really great option. Now this is what Kenny does over the E minor 7 chord. He plays an F sharp minor triad. F sharp is the second of E minor. So he's playing all the upper extensions right there. Now there's one more that I really like. We can go up to the 5th and play a minor triad from the 5th. So in the case of D minor, the 5th would be A. We'll play A minor. It gives us a 5th, a flat 7, and a 9. So again, 2 chord tones and a nice color tone. So to recap, over a minor 7 chord, you can play a minor triad on the root, the 2nd, and the 5th. Now over major 7 chords, I have 3 more options I like. So the first one, we'll go up to our relative minor. So we're in C, we have C major 7, so go up to my relative minor, it's A minor. And I'll play that, so I get a 6th, or 13, a root, and a 3rd. So I get a major 6 kind of sound. Nothing fancy, but it's still a good option to have under your belt. Another option is to go up to major 3rd, to E, and play a minor triad from there. And we get 3rd, 5th, and 7th. So we get all the chord tones of our major 7 minus the root. This minor triad from the 3rd is what Kenny Burrell does over the F major 7. Go up to our 3rd, A, play A minor, and that's what he does on the bridge of Satin Doll. Now there's one more option that's really nice. We can go down a half step to our major 7. So we can go C to B and play a minor triad right there. Right there we get major 7, 9, and sharp 11. So if we have a 7 sharp 11 chord, we can play a B minor triad over that. So to recap that, we can play from our relative minor, our 6th, play from our 3rd, and our major 7th. Those all give us nice options over a major 7 chord. So for unaltered dominant 7 chords, I have 2 choices that I like. First one we'll take a look at is the one that Kenny Burrell plays in his solo. So he plays an E minor triad over a G7 chord. So what does that give us? It gives us a 6th, a root, and a 3rd. Now this is the same exact option we used over the major 7, where you go up to the 6th and you get your major 6 sound. Same thing here. It's the same exact application. It works because there's no 7ths. And so between dominant 7 chords and major 7 chords, if you get rid of the 7th, they're both just major chords. So this works just the same because there's no 7th involved. So one more option that I like is go up to the 5th, in this case would be D, play a minor triad there. And with that you get the 5th, flat 7, and the 9. So you get 2 chord tones and a nice color tone. So to recap there, go up to the 6th and play a minor triad, or the 5th. I have two options that I think are really, really colorful. So the first one is go up a half step to your flat 9 and play a minor triad there. So if we're in G7, go up to A flat and play that. So we get a flat 9, a major 3rd, and a sharp 5th. We get two altered tones and a chord tone. So for the other option I have, go to your flat 3rd or your sharp 9, whichever way you want to think about it, and play that. So that'd be B flat. And that gives us a sharp 9, a flat 5, and a flat 7. Also, one chord tone and two altered tones. So both of these give us a chord tone and two altered tones. So these are things we could combine, and this is commonly done with people who use a lot of triad pairs in their playing. So to recap for the altered dominants, go up to the flat 9 and play a minor triad, or go up to your flat 3rd or your sharp 9 and play a minor triad. So how do we put this all together? What are some good ways to practice this? One thing I like to do is when I'm playing a tune is force myself to use a certain sound. If I was playing Take the A Train, you start the C major 7 chord for 2 measures, and then go up to D7, and 2, 5, 1. So I was just playing over the A section. Maybe I would force myself to, okay, every time that C major comes around, I'm going to play an E minor triad. And then when the D7 comes around, maybe I'll force myself to use the minor triad from the 6th. So I'll play a B minor triad over that. And over the 2, 5, I'll assign one of those triads to each of those two. So I've assigned these superimpositions to each chord, and maybe each chorus I'll pick one, and each time that chord comes up, I'll try it. So the first chorus, I'll play E minor over the C major chord, and over the other chords, I'll just blow. I'll just play regular stuff. But then the second chorus, play regular stuff over the C, but maybe I'll play B minor over the D7, and I'll just switch it up every chorus, and that way I'm thinking and forcing myself to grab these other tones. Another tool that I think is important to help visualize these is make sure you can see the chord with what you're playing. So for example, if I'm playing a C major 7, so if I look at this, those 3 notes right there, that's an E minor triad right there in the chord. And so when I'm improvising, I want to make sure I can see that everywhere I am. So if I look at this shape, top 3 right there, look at this shape, there's my E minor. And I'm going to find it in most of these inversions that I have, and I want to make sure I can see it so I can relate it to what I'm doing again. So when I look at a G13 chord, let's just take these top 4 strings. Well, there's my E minor triad over G13. And I can see that, on top of this. So if I want that sound, I can see it. I can see it in my chord. And I think that's a really important way, because we don't want to be thinking so much when we're improvising. We want to be able to just play and see things. So if we can see these triads within our chord shapes, and we can force ourselves to improvise using them, they'll start to become a normal thing that we grab when we see or hear these chords. And that's kind of what we want to get at, is we don't want to be thinking a ton and thinking of all these little equations of how to get from here to here. Okay, I got to go up a 5th and do it. That's too much thinking. If you practice visualizing it and you practice forcing yourself to use it, it'll start to come out of your playing on its own. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Keep practicing. See you next time.